Through the 8673 network, we are going to make a difference through knowledge, execution, and capital. By connecting, equipping, and inspiring, we are starting with us. If we want to make Africa an inclusive, prosperous, and progressive society.
Capital Connect Group was born in November 2013, where I basically merged and put the dots together of my background over the last 14 years of my career. And so in English it means my CV. I took all my expertise and I consolidated under one platform. So if you go to www.capital, CAPITAL, you'll see what we did was we developed a unique selling proposition whereby we assist companies, individuals with growth strategies. So what that means is it's taking your career or your company or your business from one level to the next level. So it's getting in the direction or the directions that you need to go. So we, in one sort of slogan, we're a new business development platform with a private equity play. So what people, there's a whole misconception in the market that in order to grow or in order to do things you need money. It's not just about money. Like for example, look around look at the circle with us. Like we all bring human capital. Like human capital can make an absolute fortune. I mean, if you become the next Michael Jackson, I mean, so many things could happen. So the point you're trying to make, obviously one needs money to survive, but at the end of the day, people think there's a lot of private equity players that they just think, you write out the check and it's just going to answer everything. I mean, it actually doesn't. So we developed something unique where there is sometimes a requirement for capital investment into a project, or someone selling out shares, or they're listing a company to realize value. But what we do is we work with CEOs, with presidents of African Heritage Society in identifying opportunities, strategies, acquisitions, and so we look to grow companies and individuals. So,
okay, but who are you?
Oh, you want to know more about me?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, how the business sort of evolved was on the back of my personality. So I'm a rainmaker. And I'm not trying to just promote myself. I'm actually telling these are things that if you were to go into my LinkedIn or social media, or you speak to friends and partners or family of mine, I'm a people's person. I like just sitting here with you guys now, listening to you sing. I mean, if I'm in my office behind my desk all day long or for too long, I'm going to become miserable. I feel other people's energy. I believe in things like success breeds success, strategizing, brainstorming ideas, collaboration. It's sort of that switch from the old school.
Are you South African?
I'm proudly African.
What is an African?
African. I'm born in Africa, South Africa.
So being born in South Africa makes you African?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Well, it probably technically makes me South African, but I see myself as a proudly African person.
Okay, and what heritage are you?
What my religion?
Your heritage.
Well, I'm Jewish. I come from a sort of Jewish heritage.
Okay. So when we call South Africa and say, who is South African? What comes to mind? What makes somebody South African?
Well, having been born in the country.
Okay, so.
But also, I hear what you're saying. You're saying basically, just because you're born here, does it make you South African or African?
No, I didn't say that. You're saying that.
Oh.
But what makes one South African? What gives you identity?
Being proud to maybe giving back.
Okay.
So there's a lot of South Africans and Africans that have immigrated and run away.
Okay. If somebody were to say to you, is prosperity a consequence of choice? What would you say?
Yeah.
It is.
You don't necessarily have to have money in the bank to be wealthy.
To be wealthy. There's this issue that we're debating last week, which is the idea of privilege.
Yes.
And whites are privileged.
But what?
Yeah, are privileged. And therefore, that's where the problem lies. what is your comment?
Actually, it's interesting you say that, because I was also having a conversation with like-minded people
Yeah.
like yourself. You know, at the moment, there's like I wouldn't say there's an immigration wave, but there's been like concerns in the last few days because our president Zuma, there was a decision made where the finance minister moved out and they moved a new one in, and then they made another decision within 4 days.
Yeah.
And now they've obviously, you know, as it's like pain or bad news. You know, people move on quickly.
Yeah.
But like that's history. And Pravin Gordhan, who's obviously performed very well in the past, has been put in place and restored some confidence. But just to come back to your question, what you're saying, it touches on something that I was saying with other friends of mine, and I don't like to like, I try to avoid white, black, Indian terms, but it's a reality.
It's a reality. The past was divided.
I mean, I come from. I'm grateful that I was at a school that we had Muslims, Hindu, Indians, black. I mean, I was asked to leave the beach when I grew up in Durban with my dad because my best friend then was Langa. So I'm just saying, it's not my brother's best friend was. So we had Langa and Luntu. Luntu was from the Transkei. So I'm just saying, we're not. The old generation, they often have challenges, and maybe that's where this privileged white, sometimes it can be Afrikaner, it could be Jewish, it could be Greek, it could be anything. But the point I'm trying to make is that we actually, right now, I think like the whole drive needs to be, and like there are certain sects of white people saying that there's certain blacks that are arrogant, they're doing so well. It's the apartheid in reverse, but like those are the kind of things that we need to try and concentrate on improving. Because if we look back, should we start broadcasting in the media what the NP and the old white government were doing to the blacks? I'm just saying, like, what they did was was more than disgusting. Like, I'm just saying, I mean, going back, I mean, I did history at school. I'm very familiar with what happened. So I'm just saying.
Well, last week, I think they were saying that there is a white system.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And the whites network among themselves. And they make.
But I think there's been huge transformation.
No, this is what.
Yes.
Not just the
misconception.
No, this is the
reality.
They were telling me that you are wrong. How can you say that we are all equal when whites are eating alone? And
I hear that. I know what you're saying.
He's making it because he's Jewish. And they were saying that if you're not Jewish, you have no prospect of making it. What was said?
Let me tell you,
what was
every bit of an earning of a living that I make, it doesn't. Obviously, it helps knowing people. I mean, these young people, and I'm not that much older than them. They have the fortunate opportunity of knowing you. You have the opportunity of introducing them to your network. So, like we can have those debates. And they are real, because I haven't spent enough time with each and every one of you. You know, for all I know, you could be one of Mandela's grandchildren, you could be one of Tokyo Sequala's daughters, you could be Patrice Motsepe's son, and you could be Sandile Zungu's daughter, and you could be the brother of. You know, I'm just saying, like those kind of things we need to work. We need to actually start working away from.
This is the project that.
Okay, no, because this project is opportune, because
that's what we're trying to say, that it doesn't matter what they are.
No, it doesn't.
But there are many people who believe
100%.
You are not working hard. That the Guptas have no brains.
The Guptas are, from what I've heard of, extremely intelligent, educated.
So that's what they're saying, that the Guptas are just parasites. They benefit from their association. And therefore, the Guptas must be flushed out of the system. So then this issue of white and black privilege. So they are saying that if you are white, you start with privilege already. So how can a black person survive that privilege?
It's surviving the privilege is actually like a good slogan or
Is
payoff line.
it a privilege?
Yeah, but it's a privilege. I mean, I could give you so many examples of black people that have come from hardship that have made huge successes. There are so many examples. There's probably...
But is business success contributed by privilege?
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not.
There's so
What makes...
It's the individual.
It's the individual.
And there's not even... I was reading another article recently about education, in terms of not your schooling education, but going to your varsity education. And it doesn't just apply to South Africa, it applies to the rest of the world. I mean, if you want to become a medical doctor and you want to become a lawyer and go practice law, or use your law degree and go into business, then it makes sense to, from what this article was saying, to go and do. I mean, someone like myself, I was determined to go to varsity. I went once, dropped out. Within a year later, went back. My dad eventually said a few months in, best you come and join me in business. So I'm just saying, like, one needs to do a kind of needs analysis on themselves, but going to varsity is more for professional. I mean, we live in a generation, like you've touched on, there's, in terms of networks, in terms of connecting to the right people, in terms of sharing your vision, if it's singing with you ladies. I'm just saying, like, every day is a learning curve.
Because you see, the biggest problem is that if you are living in Tembisa and I'm a gifted singer,
yeah,
who do I sing to?
But then you need to research the internet cafes everywhere. You need to find out. Google. There's so much information.
Doesn't produce you.
But yeah, but
she can touch your hand.
Yes.
But in Tembisa, who do you touch?
No, but you need to get out of Tembisa. It's like I got out of Durban. I mean, it's like the, okay, I don't like to just drop names, but I can give you examples of township success stories.
But how do you get these floodgates?
But then this youth needs to start communicating. Like,
how do they do
one of my partners, Paul Maleke, I'll tell you what he was doing.
Talk to her. She would say,
I'll introduce you to Paul.
Yeah.
Because Paul, we did a lot of work on exhibitions within townships.
Yeah.
Where we have a full business
Paul
model.
is this?
Paul Maleke.
Maleke.
From PM Media and Sons. Now Paul is, when I've introduced him to my white clients, they've come back to me and said, Llan, this gives me so much comfort knowing that this is the next generation of what we are trying to get away with in terms of empowerment and moving across to transformation.
But you know, Llan, what she was being accused of,
yeah.
The generation.
Yes.
What were they accusing you of?
Of being
Naive.
Yes.
And what were you saying?
Naive in what way?
Because we were having that debate about the white privilege, and I was saying that it does not exist. Because I was saying that we have had 21 years of independence, and in those 21 years, all we can still do is blame the past governments for what they have done. And we haven't been able to move away from blaming each other, like to just prove. And I gave an example of Mr. Raymond Akane, to say when he started, he had been fired, and there was no white privilege then. He had to start from somewhere and build himself up to where he is now.
And he started with like one pick and pack.
It was 4, because he bought 4 with only 16% of the purchase price.
Yeah,
so
I've read a bit about that.
Yeah, so I was just saying that there goes to show that there's a man who had to make a choice that I've been fired, but does that mean that I give up? Do I blame anyone? That I just move on? So that's the kind of attitude that we need.
Yes.
And he said that you only need 10% capital and 90% gas. So
it's a good.
Yeah, so I was just saying that if, as people, we have that kind of attitude, not because you're black or you're white, but then they were saying that there is a system that exists that stops you if you are of a certain color.
And they even said that there's a Jewish system.
But that's such nonsense. I mean, look at that comedian Trevor Noah. I mean, he's broken into New York.
But they say he's half white and half black.
But that's his comedy. He says he's half this is black and that's white and
no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like it's such nonsense. I mean, you can do. There's top black business people that have left South Africa and living in Australia.
These are professionals who went to Harvard University, who have been to Ivy League schools, and they are saying to her, when you grow up, you get the realism of us. But don't delude yourself into thinking that the system, there is no system. But white people have created a system for their own. And she was arguing that there is no white system.
Correct, there isn't.
You know what they say to her? That actually she needs to go to school. Because she's now been brainwashed.
She needs to go to school.
Yeah, she's not been
She looks
brainwashed.
like she's finished a little while ago.
They say she's been brainwashed.
Yes.
So that's the problem.
Yeah, but you know what? You do get people out there that are critics, that are pessimistic, and those are the people that we don't want to deal with, to be honest. You know, one thing that even my dad has said to me is, because I'm known as a bit of a pit bull, I don't let go too easily. You gotta move. Those are people you don't want to deal with. You must stick with the winners. You must deal with the people with the right attitudes. They're black people with bad attitudes. They're white people with bad attitudes. There's Jewish people in my community I choose not to deal with. I mean, obviously, I don't know how old you are. When I was in my 20s, I thought I could deal with everyone, and I try to see the good in everyone. There are bad people out there. You reach a stage where you actually realize this person is not a nice person. This person doesn't have my interest at heart. This person wants to own 60% of my business. I'm going to work for them. And you know what I mean? No, thank you. I've worked in building my business for 10 years. Why do I want to be answerable to you? So I'm just saying, the older you get, the more mistakes you make, the little bit of grey hair comes. I'm just saying. So it's like those are. I don't know who is an entrepreneur out of you all, but I mean it's it's part of the.
But they're being told they can't be, they're not white.
Yeah, and that's more than nonsense. You can be any one thing. One of my he's probably rated my number one mentor. When I used to go to the sales meetings and company meetings, we used to stand up. I was probably in my early 20s. You used to address us and say you can be anything you want to be, and that's the reality. Because and it's all about putting your mind towards it. You can be absolutely anything you want to be. If it's being the CEO or owning your own car dealership, to having your own finance business, or you starting out as a musician and then assisting other musicians, you can be anything you want to be. Know what your strengths are. Work on your weaknesses. Those and your age is not against you. Your age is for you. Because you're not too young. Whether you're 23, 26, 28. If the mentor is telling you the wrong message, best you fire that person and move on quickly.
So how do we create a bridge? Between those who believe that South Africa is infested by systems. But these networks.
There are networks and systems. So
and
you need to decide. Everyone has their own value system. We're all brought up differently. Obviously, value systems change as you get older. Your friends can change. So you need to decide what systems you're prepared to work with, which ones you aren't. I mean, actually, you touch on something interesting, because I had a client recently who's been the most impossible client, partly being my own fault, because I knocked on the door. Eventually, he gave me business for quite a few months, and I went and spoke to one of my partners. I said, it's nice to be paid the money every month. I'm doing more work than anything. And he said to me, but I said, this person is impossible. And he actually knows the person. So he says to me, Llan, I can't agree with you more. He says, he is very difficult. So I said, well, I don't know what to do. By that stage, I'd already gone and spoke to the client and retracted in a way. And I said, put it on hold until issues are addressed. I don't want you paying our company money on a monthly basis anymore. And then my partner said to me, Llan, if it questions your value system, if it's questioning anything of your integrity, rather walk away. Yeah, the guy didn't do anything bad to me, but he's making me feel uncomfortable. He's questioning my integrity. And then, with a minute, sometimes your gut can be your biggest asset. The minute that you're feeling uncomfortable in a room with someone, or a business person puts you in a position, and you're uncomfortable, it's 99% your gut telling you to walk away. So I hope that gives you a bit of insight on that.
So that's the master class. That's what we're trying, just to get views of people, so that the young entrepreneurs, whether they're black or white, they have something to look up to. Because right now, they look up to some of the actors. They are being told, please, be real. There are roadblocks that are created by human beings, and those roadblocks are the ones that limit you, not your dream, your imagination.
And there are those roadblocks. I mean, the term roadblocks is quite an interesting term. And one has to build those bridges, whether it's the challenge in getting to your destination or reaching your goals. It's not easy. I mean, if you look at like you mentioned that one song, it doesn't matter, like Michael Jackson's song, it came up a few minutes ago. Like, if you look back at his history of how he had the talent to start off with. We all have our talents.
Yeah.
And he went through more than a difficult time to get there. If you look at like Raymond Ackerman, you touched on. I know my dad enjoys reading his books. I don't know if you've read any. And you have to realize that anyone who's got to successful positions, there has been excruciating pain. And I'm not talking always physical pain. I'm talking about emotional pain, sacrifices, late nights, early mornings, rejections. And I don't know how many more minutes we have, but one of the things that you need to research and you need to practice, and I think you touched on in terms of marketing, sales, like being able to sell yourself and sell whatever it is you're selling, whether it's your own song, whether it's the African Heritage Society, whether it's the ANC's visions and strategies into 2016, whatever you're promoting or you're doing, even if you look at a successful dentist, the person is doing and presenting his service, his product well. And I'm passionate about sales and marketing, even though I have a private equity, corporate finance, property background as well. You must remember, you have one pitch and you're gonna be rejected. But when you start closing and when things start converting in terms of your success, whether it's your CV selling, whether it's yours, that is going to catapult you to the next level, as I'm sure you've experienced. If it's closing deals, making investments, your successes are going to drive you. And in one day, you can have rejections. You can go from your 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock meeting, which is positive. I'm just saying there's so many moments. I actually tell my fiance, I said, life is actually about moments.
Yeah.
Because you can get bad news from a family member in the morning. It might not be bad enough you have to go home, so you're going to work through the day. Your before lunchtime meeting is positive, and your afternoon deals with a crisis of stock not being delivered. I'm just saying, that's why life does get hard.
It's dynamic. It's not static. You pass through.
Exactly.
Each second brings a price.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of second, not a matter of minutes.
It's like waking up in the morning and thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to go and sell that book, and I've got 1,000. The minute you step out the house, if it's into your car or your friend fetching you because you've partnered, you work well together and selling your product, the minute you're out, that just taking that leap of faith is what's gonna be your determining factor.
You break.
Exactly.
And that's the market. Just find the market system is one area that was not understood. Because most of the struggles against colonialism, imperialism, were based on a rejection of the market. And people believe that economic freedom and justice can be best won by government. Through empowerment, through set aside, through grant. What is your take on that?
Sure, that's I don't need to think too long about that one. But if I think where we are now, going forward, with when Madiba is probably, I've never regret anything in life. It's one of the things I try not to is regret anything. But he was the biggest regret for me was never making a big enough effort to have met him. A lot. When I walked in here a few minutes ago, I was actually looking for that beautiful picture, and a picture with you once in it. Yeah. So just coming back, when he came, if it wasn't for him, and people must never forget his ex-wife Winnie Mandela, because if it wasn't for her as well, a lot of us wouldn't be in this beautiful country. But looking back, a lot of people have obviously capitalized and done very well from this old term black economic empowerment and broad-based black economic empowerment. But I think going forward, because not everyone knew what they were doing, we came from a white-controlled government. Democracy came in, and I mean, it's like anything in life. I mean, if there's an opportunity for like what happened in Russia, I mean, I'm not an expert at it, but they switched over, and a lot of people got rich very quickly. So I wouldn't say it's similar to what's happened here, but there's been a few select individuals that have capitalized on it. They've had their own struggles in terms of why they were able to participate, and I think going forward, and I do believe empowerment is important,